In 1995, Whitey Bulger was leader of a Boston crime mob, an FBI informant for 20 years when he suddenly disappeared after a tip from an FBI contact that he was about to be charged with racketeering. Former FBI Special Agent John Gamel was involved in the Bulger investigation, and he joins us now from Boston this morning. Mr. Gamel, good morning to you.
Good morning, Chris.
When you found out that he had been captured, how surprised were you? He had been on the run for so many years.
Well, I wasn't surprised. As I have said before, I thought it was inevitable. I knew that I was pretty sure, not knew, but was pretty sure that he was alive and well somewhere, and that the Bureau was working very, very hard to find this man, and eventually they did.
For people who aren't familiar with Whitey Bulger, just how violent and dangerous a man was this?
Well, he spent a lot of time in the Boston area as part of a organized crime gang, which is generally referred to as the Winter Hill Gang. That eventually faded away, and he ran his own operation out of South Boston. He was alleged to be a very violent man, probably committing as many as 19 murders or being responsible for those. In addition, he had lots of other violent crimes in which he was a part. He was a very intimidating person for many people.
How close were you to catching him back in 1995 before he fled?
Well, we got an information, which is just short of an indictment, just a different form, a legal form, in late 1994, and that's when he disappeared. So we were pretty close, but what we've learned thereafter, or after we started looking for him, was that he came back to Boston, dropped one girlfriend here, and took off with Catherine Grigg, and then went became a fugitive at that point.
Yeah. Now, obviously he had involvement with the FBI, and this case was really a black eye for the FBI for so long because he had been an informant for so long, and it was a former FBI agent, John Connolly, who basically tipped him off, as I mentioned here, which led to his subsequent flight. How much of a relief is this for the agency to kind of get this embarrassment kind of wrapped up and put behind them?
Well, this is a tremendous thing to have happened, finally. As I say, I knew it was going to happen. If you look backward historically, any of the people involved with this man, going back into the 70s, 80s, and 90s, any of the people in the FBI are long gone from the FBI. There's been a complete change in personnel over the years. So it's good to get this over with, and let's go forward from here.
How about you? You were involved in the case. Does this provide you with a sense of closure?
It does. You know, I knew that phone call that I got at 1:20 a.m. this morning was coming someday, and you know, I was surprised that I was not more ecstatic about it. I just thought it was inevitable.
And let me ask you this FBI PSA that was released just a few days ago, which led to this arrest. Do you think that the FBI was working on a tip, that they knew that they may be close, so let's put this out there and see if we can get some ground?
I tend to think that that's not the case. I tend to think that if they had some inkling that he was in Santa Monica, that is, he and Catherine Gregg were in Santa Monica, I don't think they would have gone to the effort to create that campaign, that whole PSA thing. I tend to believe it's like any of those crime shows, like America's Most Wanted. You put out a tip like that, and it'll put out some information like that, and literally the tips start coming in immediately. Yeah. And you start looking at all of them, and that's what they did.
Hey, if you had a chance to say something to him, what would you say?
I'd say, welcome back to Boston.
John, thank you very much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Nice talking with you.
As always, the FBI gets their man.